Matthias! Hey, Matthias, are you in here? Matthias! What? Wait. Matthias, is this your phone? You just left it here on the desk? All right, I'm going to leave you a message, okay? Yesterday, you know that little kid with the lamb? He was supposed to be taking care of it for the sacrifice, and all of a sudden he lost it. And he was so upset because he's like, oh man, my only job, I'm supposed to watch the lamb and I can't find it anywhere. Well, I went around the temple complex looking for a little sheep that's just walking all by itself, and I have no idea where it went. So that's where I was. But man, what did you think about today? Huh? Wasn't that weird? I kind of need you to help me sort through this one. I mean, here yesterday, oh, Jesus was, that was cool, right? I mean, he's just freaking out, like flipping over tables, and he's swinging his whip around, and people are like, oh, what are we doing? Who is this guy? And why is he so mad? And Jesus is like, you turned to my Father's house, and it's supposed to be a house of prayer, you turned into a den of thieves. And I'm like, ooh, Jesus is going to take over the world, I'm telling you. He's fixing stuff. I mean, not only did he need to fix the budget, but he had to fix the religious system too, because that temple was a mess. You know, Matthias, I have to admit, I was a little nervous. You don't just go messing with the temple and expect that nobody's going to be upset about it. And then today, it was coming down. I mean, you got the Pharisees, you got the Sadducees, you got the scribes. I mean, normally they hate each other. They don't get along at all. But all of a sudden, they all want to work together to try to make Jesus look dumb in front of everybody. Did you see that? I mean, here all the news organizations, they were standing around ready to do a news report. Of course, they want Jesus to look bad. And here the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes, they're all coming up with these questions that are impossible to answer. But Jesus just shut them down. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of any of that. I mean, when they come up to him and they're like, hey, are we supposed to pay our taxes to Caesar or not? And what does Jesus do? He's like, hey, show me a coin. Whose picture is on it? They actually reach into their pouch and they pull out a coin showing what? That they're a part of the system, right? I mean, it even has an image of Caesar on it. That's totally against our law. And they're carrying that around in their pouches. Man, the hypocrites. And Jesus just showed that to everybody. And then he's like, well, give unto Caesar what's Caesar's. You're in the system, give it to him, if that's what he demands, and give unto God what's God's. I mean, how do you argue with that? And then the Sadducees, you know, these guys that don't even believe in the resurrection. Hey, Jesus, there's this woman who marries this man and he dies. And so then she has to marry his brother and he dies. And then she marries another brother and he dies and another brother and he dies and another, 7 brothers and they all die. And in the resurrection, whose wife is she? And I'm like, man, I'll tell you what, you need to check her cooking. There's something wrong with that woman. But they're asking, hey, whose wife is she in the resurrection? And what a dumb question for them to ask. They don't even believe in a resurrection. And I was kind of scratching my head on that one too. It's like, man, what would I say? And Jesus immediately starts attacking what they believe about Scripture. He's like, man, you don't even believe your own writings or Moses' writings that you say you hang on to. And because here God said, I am the God of Abraham. And I'm like, oh, why did he say that? And I remember, you know, Moses, when God told that to Moses, this is like 400 years after Abraham had already died. And so Jesus was saying that for God to say, I am the God of Abraham, that must mean that Abraham was alive somewhere. Man, that is good stuff. Jesus is just shutting them down. Then a scribe comes up and he's like, well, Jesus, okay, out of all the laws we have, all the hundreds of laws we have, what do you think is most important? Because he knew that people were fighting about that all the time. And Jesus is like, well, love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the first and the second greatest commandments. I mean, how do you argue with that? I'm telling you, I'm convinced. I mean, Jesus he's changing the temple. He's putting the Pharisees and the Sadducees in their place, the scribes in their place. I'm thinking we're going to see the takeover within just a day or two. It is so exciting to see. But this is where I'm a little confused. The people aren't really rallying to Jesus' side. I don't get it. I mean, Jesus is obviously better than all these other guys, and they're obviously just trying to trick him and trap him and make him look dumb, and he keeps shutting him down. But the people aren't really rushing to Jesus' defense. It seems like they're getting confused. And then what he did at the end. Did you see, Matthias, what he did at the end of his talk? He just starts ripping on them. I mean, I get getting out of their traps, but he went on the offense, man. I mean, he's all talking. He's calling them a brood of vipers and whitewashed tombs filled with dead men's bones. I mean, these are our leaders. This is our government. You just don't start saying all that right after you rip their temple to shreds. I don't know, Matthias. Do you think he's getting a little too strong in his approach? I mean, I know he has a lot of work to do, but let's rally some support here first. I don't know. I wish you were here. I don't know where you went. I wish you could explain some of this stuff to me.
Hey, Justice! You got any toilet paper?
That's where you are. No, I don't have any toilet paper. I'm telling you, the store hasn't had any for like 2 weeks. All right. I guess I better get you your phone, huh? I'll check in with you later.